Jackson. Last night, Lamar was 6 for 10, 58 yards passing, another 14 yards on the ground. Also had a nice touchdown run that was called back after taking over the starting role last season. Lamar went 6-1 to end the season and make the playoffs. The magical run came up short in the postseason when Lamar completed just 48% of his passes and they lost to the Chargers. Some have questioned Lamar's passing and fear he relies too much on scrambling. Greg? You sold on Lamar Jackson?
No. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not sold on him yet. He still has to show me he can be a passing quarterback in this league. He can. There's no more. Like, people want to compare him to Michael Vick. One thing about Mike Vick, he could throw the football. He could stand in the pocket, and he could deliver the ball better than
he had a good arm.
than most. He had a really good arm, and he was accurate. The last time, you mentioned it, the last time we saw Lamar Jackson in a meaningful game was in the playoffs, and he went 14 for 29, 48% completion percentage.
And if you remember that
That's
game,
not
a lot of it
winning
was
football.
at the end when the game
was
over.
He did have the 2 touchdowns later in the game, but he had the 1 interception. There's too many highs and lows. Even last night when I watched him, we talk about not putting too much into it and not putting enough into it. Last night, he had some good throws. He really did. And he also had those flashes where it's like, you can't do that. You have to make those throws. He went 6 for 10. That's 60% completion percentage. Would have been one of his better performances all of last year.
Still not good enough.
It's still not good enough. So, Jason, yes, he has to show that he can throw the ball. Let me show you this. Joe Flacco, last year, passing, when he was with the Baltimore Ravens, their passing yards per game was at 273 passing yards per game, 61% completion percentage. Lamar Jackson, last season, his average was 75 passing yards per game. 75 passing yards per game, 58% completion percentage. And you telling me I should be sold?
Wait. Can you back up the records with Flacco and then with
I get the records. I get the records, but they were top 5 in almost every defensive category as a defense and top 2 in almost every rushing category. So you relied heavily on your run game. Teams understand who you are. And from year to year, if you're not evolving, if you're not improving, and it starts with that quarterback position, that man right there, does he have the ability to do it? Yes, I've seen him do it, but he has to do it on a consistent basis. And until he does that, I'm not sold. I'm going to sit back in my chair, and I'm going to say, there go that guy again.
Here's a time me and you agree, because I'm with you. I'm serious. He has talent. We already know that.
Yes.
He's a talented young guy. But Greg is right. You just can't run around. We saw in the playoffs when it mattered, all of a sudden, because he had a nice run to get them there after he took over for Flacco, and a lot of it he did by running around and doing whatever. But you're going to face the better teams, and they're going to make you throw the football.
Yes.
And that's where he has to. He has to make it at least to where people or teams feel like it's a legit thing that we have to defend the pass somewhat. Otherwise, we just load up and stop the run, which means you're going to stop them. And your defense can play well, Greg. You can run the football, eat up the clock. Still got to get points at some point, and you still got to throw the ball in the end zone. So I'm with you. I like him a lot. I was glad to see that little playoff push and run and what they did a year ago. But until he's really throwing the football and they can make him a threat both with his arm and along with his legs, and that he's not always just looking to immediately run every time there's a crisis, that sometimes stick in there and make a throw, I can't buy in it. I can't buy in it.
I think I'm about 85% sold on Lamar Jackson. So nearly almost there. And I like the word you used, evolve. Unless you're ready to evolve as a quarterback. And if you look inside the Ravens offense this year, Greg Roman is taking the play calling duties. You guys remember Greg Roman, right? The offensive coordinator with Mr. Kaepernick in San Francisco. I think you guys got steamrolled by Kaepernick in the playoffs. Rob, you've been talking a lot about Kaepernick and how he was taking over the league and Ron Jaworski, blah, blah, blah. Well, when Kaepernick was dominating, Greg Roman was his play caller. Heavy on the run game. So what do the Ravens do in the offseason? They go add Mark Ingram from the Saints. They go add Justice Hill from Oklahoma State in the draft, a speedy change of pace guy to go with the Gus Bus. 3 good running backs. But they also want to throw the ball more. Mark Andrews, their tight end, was really good last year, but they didn't really have much outside. So what do? They draft Hollywood Brown from Oklahoma, the great receiver who played last year with Kyler Murray. First-round pick. They also added Miles Boykin, really nice receiver. 2 guys who have shown well in the preseason. I'm telling you guys, Lamar didn't really have the weapons or the confidence to go down the field last year. I think this year they're a much more diverse offense under Greg Roman. I'm 85, almost 90% sold.
So what's the issue? Is his accuracy good enough? Is his arm strong enough? What is the 15%?
Listen, the accuracy...
No, I'm asking about, yeah.
Well, again, if the first play schedule is going to be key. Down the stretch last year, they played some bad run defenses and just trucked them. I mean, and they easily were able to run the football. But as you said, the playoffs against a great Chargers team, they put 6 defensive backs on the field and said, we dare you to run on us. And they had too much speed. Ravens couldn't run. Lamar wasn't ready to pass. But he had an off-season growth, added skill players. I'm confident that Lamar can get the job done. I like the Ravens this year. I don't love them as a Super Bowl team or anything. But Lamar Jackson, to me, he's the guy, no doubt, in Baltimore.
This is going to be the approach of every defense he faces. When they see the Baltimore Ravens is on our schedule and they're the week of the Baltimore Ravens, when you put up your players of impact and your keys to success and what we need to do to eliminate these guys and what we need to force them to do, what they're going to say is, we can't allow them to run the football. Stop the run.
And you win.
Make Lamar Jackson beat us with his arm. That is going to be unanimous across the board. And if he can't get it done early and build that confidence within himself and the guys around him, has to see that, okay, he's starting to make some strides because it looks good. And we can hear all about the great throws that he makes in practice in the preseason and all these things where defenses aren't showing you everything that they have, all their defensive packages and schemes. Yes, that's great, but can you do it when it counts? Because when those live bullets come and those guys start flying and you have to make those tight window throws, can you make them on a consistent basis? Can you sustain drives? Can you do it late in games when you're going to be forced to throw the football?
Can you throw on 3rd down and get a first down?
Like, this is a throwing league.
Yes.
This is not a running football. Don't get me wrong. They are a great running football team. Nobody is discounting what they can do running the football and rushing. But you're going to have to be able to throw the ball in the air to progress as an offensive passing unit in this National Football League. That's just fact. And for me to be sold on Lamar Jackson, he's going to have to show me more. You talk about the receivers that he has, that they added. I mean, he had Michael Crabtree last year. He had Snead last year. He had weapons. We just never got to see them flourish because he couldn't get them the ball. So you ask any of those receivers last year how excited they were when they took that field.
Wow, it was a rookie taking over mid-season.
I
we
get
get
that.
the rookie part, but he has a problem with delivering the football. And in this NFL, you have to be able to throw it. And you're right, Greg, defensively, even in the playoff game, if you really go back and look, you'll look and go, well, he threw 2 touchdowns, whatever. This was all after the fact, after the game was decided. And obviously, you can't run the ball. You're going to run the clock out. So you're forced to have to throw, and defenses are allowing you to throw in front of them. So I would be discouraged
I think
that he can't deliver the football.
I think a lot of times we fall into the trap of putting too much stock in what we just saw. Well, Tom Brady was terrible in the Super Bowl. Sean McVay got out-coached in the Super Bowl. Is he good? You know, that kind of thing. And Lamar was bad in that playoff game, no doubt. But guess what, guys? Sometimes in life, you know, you got to go through a tough thing, get through it, and then you come out better. This loss to the Chargers was back in January, okay? We're in August. He's had 7 months. Greg Roman, John Harbaugh, they've had 7 months to build that offense and craft and prepare. All right, how many new plays are we putting in when the defense puts 6 defensive backs on the field? Lamar just wasn't ready for it in that game. I think he will be ready for it this season.
Jason, that all sounds good, but if he's not accurate, if he can't make the throws, I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care how many months. His months better have been spent throwing the ball accurately and putting the ball in pinpoint locations.
Did you say you saw throws last night he missed?
I saw last night he missed throws, and I'm not going to just sit here and knock him because he's missed throws, because every quarterback is going to miss some throws. You mentioned Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. They all miss the throws, but you have to make the ones that are given. And he had one last night over the middle where he threw it behind his receiver, and he could have potentially scored, but he missed them. It's throws like that that you have to make. When you're pressured and you have a hot receiver peeking off the ball and you miss them, you can't miss simple throws like that. He made some good throws last night. I saw some great things, but I still see the little nuances that are holding him back, which is his accuracy, his lack of accuracy.
And Greg, if he ever works that out, and
he can be
he would be
special.
dynamic. I totally agree because of what he can do with the football, running it. And then if he could really be accurate, throw the ball downfield and make defenses play him honestly and not cheat on him, then he could be a really good player. I'm with you.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, Patriots head coach Tom Brady. That is a nice ring to it,
What?
right?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Rob, I know you love that.
I just threw up in my mouth.